Welcome to On Scene with MPD. I am one of your hosts, Sergeant Eric Schuler. This is Lieutenant Chris Adams. We are here live at the Modesto Police Department in the Modesto Police Department lobby, filming live. We have a great show for you tonight. Our plan is to show you some video footage of some interactions that our officers have had here in the last few weeks with our community, some calls that they've been on. We also plan on answering some questions that you may have for us. So please, as you're watching this on Facebook, comment down below, ask us any questions that you have. We will either answer them here direct while we're here filming, or our media staff here that's also helping us today will answer them on Facebook. Chris, how you doing?
Doing very well. Happy to be here. We're excited to be back with you guys in our virtual platform. I can tell you that this year, as we're coming down to the end of it, we're excited to get into 2021. It's been a wild 2020, and we're excited to be with you tonight to share some of the things our officers have been doing. I can tell you that we do have our COVID plexiglass between us, so you'll see us not wearing masks today, but we definitely have this between us to make sure we have that barrier. But it's been a wild year. We want to make sure that you guys are able to see what MPD's been doing over the last few months since our last virtual ride-along back in August. So we are going to take you kind of behind the scenes of everything that we do here at MPD. We look forward to doing these in the future, but since you can't come right along with us like you have been in the past, we want to do this virtually with you. So we're going to head out to our first video. We're going to take a ride along with our HEART team, which is our homeless engagement and response team. And they're going to tell you a little bit about what they do to engage with our homeless community, some of the outreach work that they do. So we're going to head out there and talk with Sergeant Hammond.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Mike Hammond of the Modesto Police Department. I'm the sergeant of the Homeless Outreach and Engagement Team, which is known as HEART. Our function is to deal with the homeless folks in the city of Modesto, whether that's outreach and engagement or enforcement or abatement. So we have many things that we do here in the HEART team. Primarily, we like to contact the homeless during either directed enforcement or complaints, and see if there's any kind of criminal investigation that needs to be done. Once we determine the level of crime, whether it's a citation or booking or nothing, and then we switch to an outreach methodology where we try to figure out what the barriers are, why people are homeless, and to see what we can do to remove those barriers to get them to shelter and hopefully someday to housing.
My dealings with Sergeant Hammond and his team have been, I always like Sergeant Hammond. He's got a great attitude, and I can tell that he's not out to screw you over. You know, I've experienced peace with him. Every time I see him, I like to come say hi to him. It's not like that with I've been a lot of cops, but with him, he's different. His attitude is great towards the community, and he's arrested me in the past, and he didn't try to break my arms or nothing like that. He just put me on the ground, and so I sensed in him a good man, you know. And so right now I was walking down the street and I saw him. Every time I see him, I come say hi. I got a past record, and a lot of people don't like cops, but we need cops. You know, this world will be anarchy. So I thank God for Sergeant Hammond and his team, and his great attitude.
Thank you. I also have outreach and engagement coordinator Marquel Colston Sr. He's a civilian employee, and his job is also to go out and contact as many homeless folks as he can, whether they're in the parks or near the river or downtown, and ask them some kind of questions and figure out really what their barriers are, what makes them homeless, how do we remove those barriers for them or help them, and how do we get them shelter with hopes of making them getting housed at some point. I also supervise 4 Cadet 2s. Cadets are college-age kids that want a job in law enforcement but not quite ready to be an officer yet, and so we keep them on part-time and try to encourage them and teach them the the ways of the police department, the culture, how to be safe in order to make them full-time officers.
So as the homeless coordinator of the Modesto Police Department, we have to respond to all 370 calls. Whether it's a criminal allegation or an outreach situation, we have to respond. When I respond to those calls, we communicate with Sergeant Hammond, who's our supervisor in the HEART unit, and we make our decision from there. The main goal is we want to help people. That's what the HEART unit is for. There's going to be enforcement sometimes, and at the end of the day, we still have to give outreach. we all need help. So with that being said, if there's a mental health situation, we do communicate with service providers throughout the county. And if there's a drug addiction that can be tamed, we will tame it immediately. It's one team, one dream. We work closely with the county. So whatever we can do to help this population, we're going to do it. And we do follow-ups on the regular, day-to-day basis. We have other special assignments around the department that also communicate with me when I'm off. So we're a solid team, man. We make it work. But if there's any questions, or barriers that we're running into, we all put our heads together and we make it happen.
Now that video really did highlight what our HEART unit does. It showed you what the officers do in the unit, how they're out there helping the community, those homeless people, and also Mark Quelder, that position that he holds now. As you saw, he is a non-sworn person here at the police department working directly with officers here at our agency, and his job is to work with them and help provide services to our community members. And we are actually hiring for that position, and so if that's something you're interested in, we would encourage you to look online at the Modesto Gov website, because we are always hiring, and we're hiring for that position as we speak.
Yeah. Definitely a community role is needed when we talk about helping with our homeless and transient population, because it's not just the police department that does that. It's all the different agencies throughout the county really that are helping affect change with that. One of our first questions we have up here from Sean is, how can the public help with homelessness? Well, definitely when you have issues within your neighborhood, we want to know about them. We want to know places that we need to be to help provide services or make arrests if need be for illegal activity. But I can tell you from the police department, it's not always just arresting our way out of a problem. It's about providing services and kind of doing that outside the box thinking. Services is really kind of one of the biggest thing that the HEART team does, is offer services to people.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, year to date so far, the HEART team has offered 2,143 services to community members that they've come in contact with. Now, of those members that saw those services, learned about them, 457 were actually utilized. So those numbers are out there. We're out there working hard. We do have, and you mentioned this in this question that this viewer just asked, we have the Go Modesto app here for the city of Modesto. And that's an app that you can download on your smartphone or smart device. And once you register here at the Go Modesto app, you can indicate things that you're observing within the community. Now, that's something that can be trash in the area, trash on the side of the road, homeless camps, things of that nature, things that you would like the police department and the city of Modesto to look into and see what we can do about.
Yeah, and so the Go Modesto app, actually, Sergeant Hammond and his team, HEART, actually have responded to 1,078 Go Modesto app requests throughout 2020. So they're very busy, that team, along with the cadets that are assigned to them. So Go Modesto app is definitely a way that you can help out if you see issues with homeless or transient in your community. We want to be there to help you out. We have a lot of partners that we partner with among the city and the county to help with that. So let us know, and we'll be there to help you.
All right, you ready for another video?
I think so.
All right, so we're going to take you to an attempted robbery with a armed subject, a subject that's reported to be armed with a firearm here at a local liquor store here in the city of Modesto. One of our sergeants, actually, Sergeant Hicks, locates this suspect in an alley and makes contact. Let's see how that goes.
Tell you in a minute. Don't move! Don't move! Someone said you had a gun. Get on the ground, get your arms out. Adam 42 is running northbound.
Copy, running northbound.
And looks like northbound on Virginia. Where'd he go?
Northbound on Virginia.
Start me a perimeter. I lost him here somewhere. Hey, he went right there through that gate. alley.
I'm 201 Virginia.
Get the alley, I'll go over there. Get on the ground! 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 Do it now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Sir! Stop it! Stay on the ground! You're under arrest! I didn't do nothing! Get your hand from under you. Get this other hand out. I got cuffs. Do you have any weapons on you?
No, I do not, sir. I didn't have no weapons at all. You abused me. I'm taking this to court. I'm posting all over the internet for abuse.
Hey, big car.
Abuse. Abuse.
Sir, you're under arrest.
Abuse.
I already told him that, but he didn't want to listen to me.
Why? Why am I under arrest, sir?
One of the reasons resisting, obstructing, or delaying peace officer. Just one suspect? Yep.
Just one,
And we
sir.
know.
There's only one. There ain't no gun, it's a BB.
Where's it at?
It's in the bag.
It's a bag over there. He got.
It's a BB gun, sir.
Try getting back.
I didn't do anything wrong, though.
Let me
The
double
only
up.
thing I did wrong was run from you. I'm sorry.
Why'd you run?
Just because I have dope on me.
Radio.
Confirm your location. RP is advised and send your contact time.
I saw a familiar face out there in that clip, so you can tell that the video that we're showing is coming from our body camera footage over the last few weeks, so we're not completely live out in the field, but we want to make sure you get some of the best calls out there, and our own Eric Schuler was on scene for that one. I can tell you, outsider looking in and watching that video, very scary situation for the community and the officers involved. We're getting dispatched to what could potentially be an armed robbery. The information was it was an attempted robbery where someone had tried to rob a liquor store with a handgun, and officers quickly flooded that area. Were able to find that suspect and track him down. And I can tell you that such a quick response from patrol units. I know Eric assigned to operations, but not patrol. So a lot of different units in there converging in the area to get that suspect into custody, and good coordinated efforts there. But one thing I took out of this was the value of our body cameras, not only for the virtual ride along, but that situation right there. We find the subject who has already been shown that he has a handgun, runs from the police into a neighborhood, unknown where he's going to go, if he's going to try to go into somebody's house or into somebody's backyard. We get him into custody, and we're able to show you guys out there, our viewers, some of the dangers that go into this job, and we're able to safely take him into custody. So definitely a scary situation, but resolved in the best way possible, getting him into custody without any more threat to the public.
Right, and as we saw in that video, you know, and you mentioned, we had patrol officers on scene. We have Sergeant Hicks, who's a patrol supervisor, myself, who was out there, and I was out there actually working with our media relations team, our own PIO, Sharon Bear. We were out and about. We heard this call, and so we responded to assist. As Sergeant Felton Payne was out there, you know, and so he's assigned to our HEART team, and we just watched that video about that. So when something like this happens, it's all hands on deck. We all will respond. We all want to provide a service and make sure that the public is safe. And that's exactly what happened in that last video.
Yeah, and so we mentioned body cameras. You know, if you heard in the video, the subject makes the claim that we abused him. We took him into custody after he had fled, and videos like that are able to show our transparency, that wasn't the case, that the suspect had ran from us, and we were able to get him into custody. So we really like to have these videos so people can see them and see the work that is going on out in the field. And as you saw in the photos, that gun looked like a real gun, even though it turned out to be a BB gun. But he was arrested for attempted robbery for attempting to rob that liquor store. I do want to answer another question while we have an opportunity here. And as we started the show, we talked about our COVID barrier between Eric and I, so we can remain safe. But how has COVID affected how we serve here in the community? I can tell you that it has been a pretty large change, kind of a culture shift for us, as being out in the field and wearing masks and making sure we're taking taking those extra precautions. We are definitely able to take more calls over the phone, and the community has been great in responding to that. Our online reports are going up, so people are taking advantage of that and able to take things over the phone, because people are worried too that us coming to their houses and may not want us to come inside for things that we don't necessarily have to. So there has been a shift, but our department has definitely done its part in making sure that we kind of make sure that we make people feel safe, and we're doing our best, and our officers and our non-sworn are doing a good job with that.
Right, like you mentioned, our officers are still out there responding to calls for service. If you call us, we will be there. If we have the opportunity to social distance, we will do that. We will wear masks in the field, as you saw in that last video. We have partitions here at the police department. There's things that we're doing, that you're doing, that everyone's doing. We're all doing it together just to make sure everyone's staying safe.
And we wouldn't be here tonight in this format if it weren't for that, so we're excited to be able to share with you what we're doing here at MPD. I'm excited about our next video. Last time we did the virtual ride-along, we had a lot of requests for highlighting some of our specialized units. So we took the opportunity with that and went out and were able to tag along with our SWAT team, our Special Weapons and Tactics team. That team established in 1977, 43 years old, a lot of history there, and we're able to glean a lot of great things from their training and talk to some of their members. So let's take a look at our first feature in our virtual ride-along of our SWAT team.
You have to apply. You have to put a memo in saying that you are interested.
And then it consists of a physical test. So they have to be able to do push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and a timed run, all within a certain time. And then they also have to be proficient in firearms as well. So they have a standard shoot, and then they have a combat shoot in which they're graded upon.
Go run, hide behind cover, and shoot. And then there's an interview. Being a hard worker is very important. Having your co-workers think highly of you and speak well of you, and being a good teammate is very important. So as long as you have those things and you pass the test, you should be good.
I wanted to become a SWAT team member because I thought it was cool growing up. Carrying around a gun and finding bad guys was always something that I wanted to do. And the more and more that I became into this profession, I always looked up to members of the SWAT team and wanted to be a part of the team as well, because I'm a big proponent of being in that team aspect, in that team environment.
I think the hardest part is probably, we have 24 guys, and getting everyone to kind of think as one big hive mind and work together instead of a bunch of individuals is probably the most difficult thing. Also just, when you're at training, to stay switched on all day, even though you're wearing, a bunch of heavy armor and we're running around all day in the heat, just kind of staying focused regardless of what we're doing.
I'd say one of the hardest part of the job is just learning everything. There's a lot of different ways to do one job, and so just learning how to do everything as a team, having everyone come together as one unit to accomplish the same mission.
It would have to be the commitment. We're constantly training and trying to improve ourselves, and we have to do it as a team, not individuals. So we're always pushing each other and striving to be the best, because we want to make sure that we're able to accomplish any task that comes across us. We have our rifles and our handguns, but we do have different tools that guys are specialized in. So we have our breachers, we have our snipers, and then we have our point guys.
So I'm one of 2 breachers on the entry team. So when we encounter, a barricaded door or something like that that's fortified, we're the guys that go and open it. We have a variety of tools that we use for that. And then I'm also one of the firearms instructors on the SWAT team. So we're the guys that teach the other members of the team how to shoot.
So we have 2 dogs on the SWAT team. My main job is being on the perimeter. So if anybody runs from a house that may be dangerous to the public, my dog is used either to scare the person from running or apprehend the subject from running. And then we have another dog that's on the SWAT team also, and his job is to go into the house to make sure there's no bad guys hiding, to keep us safe, to keep the public safe. So that's how we implement the dogs in with the SWAT team.
My role consists of I'm a firearms instructor on the team, and I'm also a sniper on the team. Being a sniper is a craft, so it actually involves quite a bit of things, but just a quick rundown on a few of those things is we have to be able to shoot accurately at long distance. We have to know what our round does in different environments and at those distances. We have to be able to move in and out of locations without being observed. We have to be able to give good description and observations to our target locations, so that way our sergeants and team leaders can make decisions off of what we observe. High-risk search warrants or any high-risk mission, we will get activated and called upon to do.
Usually something that would be unsafe for the normal patrolman to handle. Something that would be kind of outside the scope of their training. For example, barricaded suspect, or it'd be extremely unsafe for a normal patrolman to go in there with limited body armor. They don't have obviously the weapons training that we do. In addition to that, we do high-risk takedowns on murder suspects, things like that. Anything that has just a higher degree of danger or that would need a higher level of training, the SWAT team will get called out for. Anytime we do any kind of scenario where we're shooting, in with role players or anything like that, we always practice. We call it follow through. So after the shooting is over, we practice, administering first aid, calling for an ambulance, that type of thing.
Move over here! Over to me! Orange, move him out! Go!
We also have a tactical medic on our team, and he gives us training throughout the year that's above and beyond what we receive just through the department. So we're getting, advanced tactical medicine, obviously, specifically treating injuries that would occur in the course of our duties.
Yeah, give me perfect. Are you aware? Here we go. Yeah. Hold on, let me get this on.
We got wounds here on the front. And me. You want to get him out of here?
Yeah, good job.
And me.
Come out, bud.
Another gauze. Hold that.
Come underneath.
Yeah, take photos. Let me have gloves. What can I do for you, buddy?
Above it?
Yep.
I need this leg out. Keep it. That's about as high as I can get, guys. Sorry. Give me a hard knee. We get the hard knee in. Actually, not bleeding out of it. Okay, what's going on there? Yep. Move your leg.
Come on, buddy. Come on. You okay?
Unresponsive?
We need all
unresponsive
locations heading into the park blocked off.
He's breathing.
But every time that we're training any kind of scenario, we're always practicing, administering first aid. And then obviously in the real world, that helps us, apply that training much quicker than normal.
Usually we do a little bit of working out before, just because of the physical aspect, carrying around all this gear. Then we usually go into firearms training, shooting all of our shooting platforms. We do that for a little bit, and then we go into shooting or doing our specialized equipment.
We try to make all of our trainings as real as possible. I'm a canine handler also, so training our dogs to when we do a mission, we try to make our trainings as real life as we can, so that way we're as prepared as we can when we come across something that maybe we haven't seen before. So we try to throw in different things that we may not come across, but it's always better to practice harder than what you might see.
Our normal training days are something like you see out here. We'll do some live fire stuff. We'll do some entry tactic training similar to this. And then we also do, a variety of other things like vehicular takedowns, pedestrian takedowns, things like that. We also, we'll go out to the range and just shoot for a day, make sure, our marksmanship and everything is up to par.
Fun. And then we all work patrol or a special assignment. So we have sergeants on our squad, so we have a good mixture of people that are on patrol, working on our gang unit or on our major crimes unit. So everybody's life is different.
So we do our training here, but then on our normal duties, we go back to our respective teams, and we can kind of bring some of that training back, and we kind of train up our peers that are not on the SWAT team, and it allows us to just operate with a little bit higher level of safety when we're going about our daily duties.
Well, it seems like during our broadcast we might have lost you for a moment, so we do apologize for the technical difficulties. It's kind of like 2020, isn't it? Just how it's been going for us. We got to just keep working through it, adapting, and that's what we did. So we are now back with you. Hopefully you did not miss too much of that video. As you saw, it got to really highlight what our SWAT team members do, how they train, some of the requirements, and the purpose for a SWAT team. And I think it really did a good job highlighting all of that and sharing that information with everyone.
Absolutely. The SWAT team is definitely something that we need here at MPD. There's calls that just simply rise above what our patrol officers, our investigative services division can handle on their own, and going to take some specialized training and equipment. And so having them there is such a great resource. And I think, as one of the officers who was interviewed talked about, is bringing that training back to the teams that they work on, whether it's in patrol or in our investigative services teams that we have, those specialized teams. That training that they're getting at least twice a month, if not more, comes right back to our officers, our line level staff, and able to utilize that in kind of their day-to-day job. So definitely one of the most exciting teams to be a part of, long-standing tradition for them. We actually, coming up the next few weeks, have a member of the SWAT team, or a previous member, Lieutenant Mark Weiglein, is going to be retiring from the police department, well over 30 years of service here at MPD, and he was a member of the SWAT team. There were some photos going around this week of him and the SWAT team back in the old days here at MPD. So pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
So let's jump into the next video here. We're going to watch a police officer respond to a call. Citizens call in. They report that they see a man waving a gun around. And so these officers are responding to that. When an officer responds to a call like this, they're typically obviously looking for this subject, right? A citizen calls in, they report that a specific person wearing this type of clothing, this type of gun is at this location. So officers begin to saturate the area looking for this subject.
At gunpoint. Hey, let me see your hands. Don't reach for that gun underneath your. Don't reach for that gun. Fake gun or real gun? Huh? That gun right there underneath your pants. Don't reach for it. Huh? Stand up. Keep your hands over your head. Bust down. Put your hands on top of your head. So far, not compliant. Hey, keep your hands on the top of your head. put your hands on the top of your head. Copy. Bump over here towards me. Hey, put your hands on the top of your head. 261, can't tell if it's a real gun or a fake gun. It's a silver gun next to his right foot. Stay right there. Hey, put your hands on the top of your head. I'm gonna go hands on. Go, stay lethal. Q34, Q61, 1034, 11015.
Anything on you? Signal poke me? Go check the ass out of here. Ask you. I don't fuck with you asking what I'm telling you. Go check.
Okay.
I'm sitting there eating a burger. You talking to me like I did something wrong.
So
all I did was chill, eat a burger, nigga.
Okay. Well, here's what we got. We got a caller.
Okay, bro.
We got a caller saying that they saw you waving a gun in the air.
Waving.
You got ID on you? What's your first name? What's your date of birth? Where are you from? Okay. 261-2901. 10-4, thank you. Hey, stand by with him real quick.
I got a question for you, man. Wasn't a good decision. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Where do you have the gun when you rolled up on him?
Right underneath his left leg. So for the call that came out, they said that he was walking northbound. I was right here, and I was like, man, I'm UTL anybody here. And that's why I was asking on the way here if like there's anybody else calling in, whether or not, you know, because usually get more than one call.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, okay, well, how many more, you know, will we have? And then I drove by, and he kind of looked, kind of just, you know, mad dogged me a little bit. So I drove by, and I was trying to come around this way to sneak up on him. But I wasn't able to do it, so I pulled this way. And then right when I came up, I had him at gunpoint. I saw the silver underneath there.
Nice.
From over there, it could be a real gun. So I tactically thinking of it, I was like, I don't know where my next unit's going to be, and I don't want this guy to take off to Burger King with a gun. So I'm
Exactly. You did totally fine.
You know, one of those situations, kind of an odd call, not something you hear every day, where a subject is waving a gun in the middle of an intersection or near an intersection. So you can imagine the officer's mindset going into that, just not knowing what that's all going to be about. And it definitely, in this instance, that's one of our newer officers, Officer Tyler Epler, and his training kicked in. He really, you can tell just watching that video, put himself in a good position to be able to see that subject. So if something were to happen, he's able to be behind some cover. But there's a lot of things that our officers are thinking about in those instances when you find a subject matching the description. Then you see a gun sitting right next to him, but very calm, which is great. That goes back to the training of the officer and being able to think through those things, and is able to talk to the subject, tell him what he wants him to do. And you can see the subject was really not compliant there for a while, and it definitely worked out to be a safe situation. Turned out that it was a fake gun, but the subject still was arrested for possession of imitation of a firearm. Turned out to be on probation. Also had some drug paraphernalia there that you saw, but just one of those things that not a common call, but the officers, the training that they're receiving out there definitely is helping them to work through those situations without escalating it to something further. Really, that's something that we want our officers to do, is use safety, but also if we can just talk to people and ask them and tell them what we need them to do in a calm demeanor, we're going to try to do that in those cases where we can.
Right, so often a call like that could turn into a different, the scenario could have been different, right? The outcome could have been different, you know, and so the subject, obviously with the gun on the ground, the officer sees it. The officer did a great job, like you said, giving the subject commands, coordinating the incoming units, letting them know where he was, using his car for cover. A lot of great things happened there. The officers did a good job, maintained control, and used good officer safety tactics right there.
Absolutely. So we just want to remind our viewers out there through this virtual ride-along, if you have any questions for us about anything you're seeing or anything in general right now, please type them in the comments box. We'll be able to answer them live on air as we're working through the virtual ride-along. So please ask us anything that you can think about, and we'll try to answer the best we can. But we're going to roll into our next video, which this subject you're going to see in this video actually was knocking on a homeowner's door just about 6 a.m. And when they saw this subject through some surveillance footage, they determined that the subject had been there almost since midnight and was actually inside of their car in the driveway. So they're going to, the officers are going to come out and respond to the call of a subject that's inside of their vehicle in a driveway. Let's take a look.
The subject is in the vehicle. I know if it's one or two and they're in the car, the lights are going out, and I'll say I'm pretty sure at this point. It looks like it's going to be more of a 459 in progress. The subject is going through the vehicle.
B33. I'm going 97. Go ahead and give 1033. Where at? In my car. The white car, right? Hey, show me your hands. Hands up. Face away from me. Face away. Hands up. Hands straight up. Face the house. Hey, face the house. Put your hands straight up. With the right hand, grab the back of your shirt. Lift it up. Turn around. Turn around. Keep turning. Keep turning. Stop. Face the house. Okay. With your arms raised, step backwards. Step backwards. Stop. I knocked the door, right? Step to the left. Step to the left. Step left.
Right back to you.
Keep coming to the left. Busick, move out of the way.
Bring him backwards.
Step backwards. Put your hands on your head. Interlock your fingers. Step back.
One more.
Step back.
Right there. Use it, cover the car, and we'll take care of him. Keep your hands there, dude. 19. You're gonna go behind your back. There you go. There you go. It's all right. It's all right. Everything will be okay. I didn't take nothing. Okay. All right. Come back here, dude. Anyone else with you? Okay. No one else. Just the both of us.
Hey, you got people in the house, so let's go from passenger side. Yeah. Hey, we're moving.
Gonna hold there? Yep.
Get in the front.
Good. All right. Is this your car? Where do you, is there a way to pop the trunk? Up trunk? You want to pop the trunk right down that front? You guys can keep on right now.
So here's at 12:43. Here's what I noticed at 12:43. And it went for ever.
Okay.
You know, quite an interesting video there. You have a citizen reporting that they're finding on camera a subject that's inside their vehicle, a subject that's been inside their vehicle for several hours, you know. And as an officer responding to something like that, you got to wonder, what is the motive here? What's going on, you know? And so the officers do a great job utilizing tactics, calling the subject back to them. You never know if someone's armed, as we've seen in some of these other videos. You know, some subjects have weapons and we never know, you know. And even when the officers approach to double check and make sure there's not a second or a third suspect inside this vehicle. I will add that that subject was arrested for burglary and tampering with a vehicle and parole charges as well. You know, one of the fun things about that too, I think, is the security camera footage, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a huge resource that we can share with the public, you know, and they can share with us. We have something here at the Modesto Police Department, and you can register with it. It's a camera registry program sharing partnership that we have with you. If you go to camportal.modestogov.com, you can register your cameras with us. And what that means is it's just you telling us that, let's say Eric Schuler, for example, has a camera at his home address, and it notifies the police department that you have video cameras, video surveillance there. And you can also do it for a business as well. What's important about that is when police officers are investigating a crime after the fact, we can use this Cam Portal tool and look and see who has cameras nearby. You know, we have some cameras here in the city of Modesto that the police department has, but if we can use yours, that's a great partnership right there. And that's going to really help solve some crimes and deter some crimes.
Absolutely. You know, if you watched our last virtual ride along, one of the things we talked about was the Real-Time Crime Center, and that's really builds itself into that to where we can use digital information to help us solve crimes, which is pretty neat. In this day and age, there's so much digital media out there that helps solve crimes here at the police department. So if you have that and want to register it, make sure you take a look. You can see on the screen below also has the website, so take a look. So we do have some questions we want to make sure that we get answered for you. How long is training to become a police officer? Well, I can tell you it's a very long road to get to the position of being a full-fledged solo police officer. You have to go through our police academy, and the hiring process leading up to that could be approximately 3 to 4 months. The police academy is just over 5 months, and then you'll make your way into what's called our field training program. And depending on your performance, you could be in the field training program from 4 to 6 months, sometimes a little bit longer than that, to get you experience to be a solo police officer. So you're looking at a good 18 months, year and a half or so of hiring process and all the training that it takes to get out there. It's countless hundreds, if not thousands of hours of training that goes into before we're getting our officers out on the street to where they're actually communicating with real live citizens out there as opposed to just a training capacity. And we really want our officers here to be proficient and be able to make sure that they can handle the rigors and the stresses and of this job and to be out there to serve our community.
Another question, it looks like a few of our viewers here asked the same question. What can I do about neighboring apartment drug use? You know, that's a good question because here in the city of Modesto or wherever you're living, you know, you may notice something that you need to notify the police about, whether it's drug use or something else. You know, here we have Crime Stoppers. That's a telephone number that you can call where you will remain anonymous. That's 209-521-4636. If you see something and you want to report it to the police, again, you want to be anonymous, that's the best way for you to do it.
Yeah, and you can always call if it's an emergency, you know, call 911, but if you're looking to make an anonymous tip about drug activity, drug sales, whatever that may be, that's going to be your best route to go. So we definitely want to keep those questions coming in. We like the interaction with you guys here, and we're always available for that. Even after the show, you can get a hold of us through our social media outlets, but keep the questions coming, and we'll answer them in between each of the videos.
So we're going to take you out to a traffic stop. One of our officers is working in the evening hours, and he makes a traffic enforcement stop, and he's going to investigate this driver for being under the influence of alcohol.
Controlling.
Any unit position, 910
T5 for 5 points.
T5, T5.
Roll down the window. Wrong one. Why are you driving so fast?
Because I'm trying to get to my uncle's house before I can get to somewhere else.
Okay. And then I turned my lights on and you still were taking off. I thought you were running from me.
Oh, no.
No?
No.
You have a driver's license?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Sure.
Any alcohol to drink tonight?
No, not really.
Not really? Is that yes or is that no? Is it a rental car?
Do you need to see my driver's license?
Do.
Okay, that's fine. Here we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was just going somewhere.
Okay.
I was headed somewhere. I know where I'm going. Thank you.
You live in Modesto?
Yeah.
Do you still live?
No.
Okay. What's your new address?
Here. You want to see a receipt of it that I got from the DMV?
Okay. That'll work.
Big Daddy. What is it? Rito, FTO, Rivera?
Mm-hmm.
Rivera. Here we go, Rivera. Oh, oopsie. Oh, I didn't have it with me. Too
Okay.
bad.
Can you do me a favor? Shut off the vehicle?
Sure. Why?
No, turn off the vehicle, not your lights. Okay. Do me a favor. Hop out of the vehicle.
No.
Ma'am, I need you to step out of the vehicle.
No. I need to go home to my house.
I understand that, but I'm a little concerned that you might be intoxicated.
I don't need you to be concerned about me.
Okay.
I need to go home to my house. Leave me alone.
Oh, I'm not going to leave you alone.
You need to leave me back alone.
Why is that?
Understand me? Because my got shot up, and you don't need to bother me. I'm going home to my orchard, to my family's house.
Okay.
Fuck alone. Do you understand me? Shot.
Modesto.
By no, you're not taking in any unit. Leave me alone. Give me back my driver's license. Give me back my driver's license.
To relax. Okay.
No, give me back my driver's license, dude. What, man? Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ! Really? Give me back my driver's license so I can go to Paul's house. For the love of God, he's probably not home. If it makes you feel any different.
Have you been drinking tonight?
No, but if it makes you feel any different, he's probably not home. He's probably in the foothills in Sonora, where I'm left with nobody to talk to. Like, you have no
Listen to me.
Okay, you seem like a nice guy, but I don't need to go to jail.
Okay.
I don't need recovery. I don't do drugs.
Okay.
I promise you, I don't do drugs. I'm a good girl.
Can I explain something to you?
Good.
Can I explain something?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I need from you, okay?
Okay.
I need you to step out of the vehicle. I'm going to have you step over here to the sidewalk. I'm going to check you to make sure that you're okay to keep driving. If you're okay to keep driving, I'll send you on your way home. If you're not, then we'll figure it out from there, okay? But I can't have you sitting here on the side of the road arguing with me, demanding to get your license back.
Give me back my license.
Step out of the vehicle. Thank you. Come over here to the sidewalk, please. Go to the sidewalk.
Shall we travel?
Nope, right there.
Where's the line that we're going to?
You're fine right there.
What do you want me to do? Hopscotch? 1, 2, 3. 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Hopscotch. Bam.
Hey, can you
Step on the one. Step on the two.
can you stand by with her real quick? That doesn't work. And I'm gonna grab a form.
Boom. Hopscotch. Bam. Okay, so what do you want me to do?
I'll explain it here in a second.
Oh, that's nice. You're really good looking. That. Sorry. I just like. Yeah, I don't usually talk like that, but not usually where I come from. You have no idea. I even thought to say the F word.
I'm gonna ask you some.
How do you do?
Listen.
What's your name?
It's Alex.
Big
Listen.
macho.
I'm gonna ask you some questions. I ask that you're honest with me, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
I'm sorry.
No,
what
I
was
did
that?
not. Have you had any?
I'm sorry,
Have you had any alcohol?
Excuse me.
Have you had any alcohol to drink tonight?
No.
None at all.
Hold on.
Stand by, I'm not sure I didn't want to.
Where's my keys? Hey, guess what? You know
Listen.
who I am?
No, I don't.
Okay, Mike. And then PD, you need to now. I need to go home. Thank you. Give me my keys now.
I don't have your keys.
Hey,
Listen.
give me my keys now. What are you gonna do? Shoot me?
No, I'm not. No. Okay. Do me a favor.
Hey, guess what?
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
No.
You're under arrest.
No.
Yes. Turn around. Put your hands behind.
Oh my God! I'd rather him do it than you do it.
Okay.
Because I'm more attracted to him.
Okay.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna lock them up so they don't crunch on you.
What's the charge?
I'm assuming a DUI.
I'm not drunk.
Well, it's hard to tell because you won't do the test.
Okay, I'll do the test. I promise I'm gonna be on my way.
You're under arrest.
Oh, we're past that.
Yep.
Big Daddy's gonna hurt me.
No.
Big Daddy, Big Bad Daddy, my daddy.
You know, it's funny how your night can just change from call to call, and that was definitely one of the more interesting, I think, DUIs that our officers have seen out there. But it just goes to show that DUI drivers, they're out there, and it's dangerous. And you know, we do a lot at the police department to make sure that we're reducing the number of drunk drivers on the road. Officer Rivera, who you saw in that video, is assigned to our traffic unit, and he was actually out on some grant funding through the Office of Traffic Safety, which we've had for several years here, where we're sending our officers out doing a bunch of extra enforcement, especially when we come into times like now where it's busy during the holiday season, and we want to make sure that people are out there and reducing the number of drunk drivers off the road. But that's not just the Modesto Police Department that should be doing that. Really, it should be our community that's thinking about that and thinking about the dangers of drunk driving. You know, we see every year in and year out, we have fatal traffic collisions as a result of DUI drivers, and we take it very seriously. We want to make sure that we get those DUI drivers off the road.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta commend Officer Rivera there for his professionalism. As we just saw in that video, you know, you see him dealing with someone that's under the influence, clearly under the influence, you know, and the body language and the demeanor of that person seem to fluctuate. However, he remained the same, calm, collected, and professional the entire time. You know, and that's what we do here at the police department. We train for that, we work towards that, and so he did a great job in that video, as you saw, and it's never a dull day, I'd have to say.
Absolutely. So we do have another question we want to answer. What's the education required to be an MPD officer? Well, when you come to the police department, there's a couple things you have to do. You do have to take a written entry-level test. You do have to have a high school degree, but you also have to take a written test to get into the hiring process. It's called the Pellet B. But if you want more information about that and how to get involved with the hiring process here at MPD, go to our website or go to Facebook, and we have a ton of information. There's tips out there to be successful in the hiring process and how to also get you past that written test, the written test Pellet B. So that's one of the entry requirements to get into the police department. So, all right, we're going to go into our last video for the evening, and I hate saying save the best for last, but this is a great video to see the partnerships among our county when it comes to enforcing the law. You're going to see in this video where officers attempted a traffic stop of a vehicle that had been reported to be taken in a carjacking. A carjacking is different than a stolen vehicle. A stolen vehicle, some parked on the side of the road, taken with nobody in it. A carjacking is when someone takes a vehicle away from somebody else by force, or where they're armed, as you would picture some like you would see on television, pointing a gun, whatever it may be, and forcing somebody out of the vehicle and taking it. So it's a very violent crime. And officers are going to attempt a traffic stop with this vehicle. At first, you're going to see it stop, and then it takes off and leads officers on a pursuit. And then a coordinated effort between the Modesto Police Department, the helicopter with the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office, and then, of course, our dispatchers at SR 911 who do a great job of getting our officers coordinated to where they need to go. So you're going to see that right now. Let's take a look.
Vehicle stop now. Calling car stop facing northbound.
You unlock your door, bro? Copy. Hey, roll all your windows down. Just one you see so far?
Northbound, center, western, about 40 miles an hour. Here goes out center, western. 3900. Coming northbound Paradise. Correction, eastbound Paradise. About 80 mile an hour light traffic. Turn on Natalie Court. Hold on, subject's Wingville. The driver is running southbound, and he's He's jumping a 5 behind a garbage can.
Let me see your hands! Let me see your hands! Stop! Police! Get up! Let me see your hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do not move!
2029.
Do not move!
You guys go southbound to your location. There is a passenger still hiding behind a tree. Just frustrated you guys.
Behind a tree?
Hey, let me see your hands! Put your hands up!
Hey, let me see your hands! Get on the ground! Ground! Alderman, go hands on.
Passenger gunfire as well.
Grab the other hand.
111, any more outstanding? Just the 2. Just the 2. No outstanding subject. Confirm both account point.
32, he's 10-15. Confirming no more outstanding, right?
32, 111, that's correct. No outstanding, just the passenger and the driver.
Now that was an interesting video. Like you mentioned, you know, the coordinated efforts of the sheriff's office, those deputies on scene, the Modesto police officers that are there, and then of course the air unit there, right? The sheriff's office has a plane, Air 111, as you saw in the video footage there, that was able to follow above that vehicle pursuit, provide audible, right, direction of travel to those behind. And really what that does in a pursuit, a dangerous pursuit like that, where suspects are driving without due regard for public safety, officers are able to back off just a little bit to give that driver a little bit more room. So hopefully they drive a little bit less fast. And when that's happening, the airship's right above, able to communicate that to the officers that are responding. You know, and we also have our dispatchers there that are communicating everything. They're sharing that information, broadcasting it, because we're watching it now live, or we're watching it on the webcam footage. However, you know, there's officers that are 4 cars behind or responding to this, and they don't see what we're seeing. They're relying heavily on that radio that's in their car. So that's information that's being provided by the airship, by the officers in the pursuit, or the dispatchers.
Absolutely, yeah. We couldn't do this job without our dispatchers, and we thank them up at SR 911 for all the work that they do to help us be successful in the field. And of course to the Sheriff's Department, such a huge advantage to have the helicopter or the plane up in situations like this. You know, we have the drones here at the police department, or UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, which they have a lot of capabilities to do yard searches or help on search warrants, to be able to see things from up above. But real-time pursuits like this, you really have a huge advantage when you have a vehicle that's more mobile, can move along and relay that information to our officers on the field and help them back off of that pursuit. So. Looks like we have one more question for the evening. Go ahead, Eric.
We do. So the question is, what's your favorite part of your job? So I'll go first. I think there's a lot of different things that we can do here at the police department. We saw that SWAT video earlier. You know, in addition to your normal duties, you may have collateral assignments. You know, for me, I hold a couple of collateral assignments, one of them being FTO. I'm one of the FTO supervisors, which is one of them, and I really like that. That's probably one of my favorites. And then also the bicycle team. I'm a part of the bicycle team. I supervise that. We just had an event last Saturday, the reverse parade here in Modesto, and I was able to participate as part of the bicycle team out there, you know, and that's one of the great events that we get to have, even now with COVID, you know, that we're still dealing with, where we get to interact with the public and be involved.
Absolutely. I think same question. The favorite part for me personally has been seeing young officers make their way through the ranks that come out of our Explorer program. In this video here that we just watched, the 2 officers at the end, Officer Halderman and Officer Billing. Officer Halderman, he was an Explorer here, and when I was an Explorer advisor, got to see him grow up through the ranks. And then also Officer Billing, who was a cadet with us and joined early on, young in his career, has now moved on to be an officer. There was just a Facebook post recently of 3 officers who went out and purchased some toys for a young mom who had her vehicle stolen with all of her Christmas presents for her kids in the back of that vehicle. And the post had these 3 officers in the room, and they were providing these toys to the young boy who was going to miss out on these toys at Christmas. And seeing things like that from those 3 officers who happened to be previous explorers, it's just very exciting for me that those young officers are going out there and serving our community. And in the end, those programs and the things that we do here at the police department to develop our young staff as they come up and become become police officers is benefiting you guys, the community. And that's my favorite part, is to see success stories like that. So good question. We appreciate that as we come kind of to the end of our broadcast.
Right, we've watched all the videos we have to show you tonight. We've answered all the questions, and our media relations team, has answered some of them as well. So I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Happy holidays to everyone.
Absolutely. I do want to say real quickly to the people who are really running this show is our PIO, Sharon Bear, and Officer Adam Foster, who, if we turn the camera around, you would see those two right now, but really they made this event possible tonight, editing all the videos, putting everything together, and then we were able to come in here and talk to you guys tonight. So thank you to those two. Huge kudos and all the work that they put into this. But we're very happy to be in your rooms, your living rooms, in your car, wherever you're at tonight. Thank you for tuning in for the virtual ride along, and expect to see many more of these next year as we move into 2021. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Have a good night.
Good night.